Hey, good evening. Tonight's Committee of Adjustment hearing is being held by video conference and live streaming video on the town live stream webpage at oakville.ca. This is a hearing to consider applications for minor variance and consents held under the authority of the Planning Act. Please keep in mind that the intent of this process is to review the application that is before the committee, listen to the evidence, and then make a decision. This process is not intended to be used to resolve any concerns or disputes that may exist between the town, individuals, or organizations. If a request for deferral is made and the committee grants such a request, the applicant or authorized agent must contact the Secretary-Treasurer to schedule a new hearing date. In order to conduct an effective and efficient electronic hearing, we have adopted the following process. If you are watching the live stream of this hearing on oakville.ca and you wish to speak to an item on the agenda, please call 905-815-6095. Again, the number is 905-815-6095. The phone number is also posted on the screen below the live stream page at oakville.ca. Staff will be standing by to take your call. When you do call in, staff will ask for your name, item number that you wish to address, and your telephone number. For further instructions will be provided for you to call back to join the video conference. When the chair of the committee polls for interested parties, please press *6 to unmute yourself. The applicant or agent will be given the opportunity to briefly explain to the committee the basis of their application, answer any questions that may arise. A maximum of 5 minutes will be provided for each presentation. You'll need to state your full name and address for the record. Any submissions beyond the 5 minutes will be at the discretion of the committee. All delegations must also state their full name and address for the record, and a maximum of 5 minutes will be provided for each presentation. All remarks and questions are to be directed to the chair, and any submissions beyond the 5 minutes will be at the discretion of the committee. The applicant or agent will then be provided with a further 5 minutes to respond to any comments made by interested parties, answer any questions from the committee members, and if the applicant or agent has any concerns found in staff report, particularly with any proposed conditions, this will be the opportunity to advise us. The matter will then be taken into committee for a decision, and this will mark the end of all discussion. Any person desiring a notice of decision for an application must provide a written request, preferably through email, to the Secretary-Treasurer. Written notice of the committee's decision will be mailed no later than 10 days for minor variance and 15 days for consent applications to the applicant and/or agent and any other person who has filed a written request for such notice. The last day to appeal the decision to the Ontario Land Tribunal will be noted on the decision. Only the applicants and specified persons or public bodies may appeal the committee's decision to the Ontario Land Tribunal. Please note that in November of 2022, Bill 23 legislation, the More Homes Built Faster Act, amended the Planning Act to remove appeal rights for members of the public. If no appeal is received within the prescribed timeframe, the decision of the committee becomes final and binding, and the Secretary-Treasurer will then notify the applicant and anyone who has received a copy of the decision through written correspondence. People participating in this hearing are to be courteous to and respectful to the members of the committee, town staff, and any other person participating in the electronic hearing. Tonight's electronic hearing is being video recorded and available for future viewing at oakville.ca. Thank you. We have one regret for this evening, Mr. John Hardcastle. Okay, I will now take declarations of peculiar interests. Mr. Dickey, go ahead.
I have a conflict of interest with regard to Committee of Adjustment Variance number 0040-2024, 041, 042, 043, and 044.
Okay. Thank you for your declaration. We'll make sure that you are out of the Zoom meeting for that portion. I will now take requests for deferral or withdrawal of applications.
I'm moving Daniel Ott into the meeting.
Yes, hello. I am the agent for item number 6.5, file number 038-224-2024, and we're requesting a deferral.
That's 23 Slater Crescent, correct?
238 Slater Crescent.
Yeah. Sorry, 238, yes. 238 Slater Crescent. Okay. Reasons for the deferral?
The comments, staff does not support the application, and I've spoken with the planner on file about a couple different options, and we'll be redesigning it with the client over the coming weeks.
Very well. All those in support of a deferral? Okay, your application has been deferred. You'll see the Secretary Treasurer at your earliest convenience.
Yep, thank you.
I've moved
Anyone else waiting?
Yes, I've moved Doug Matthews into the meeting.
Hello?
Hello, Mr. Matthews, go ahead. We can hear you, we cannot see you.
Yeah, and I'm not sure. Oh, here, hang on. There you go. Okay.
Okay.
Hi, yeah, I'm Doug Matthews, agent for 186 Juanita. I would like to ask for a deferral for that address. We'd like to just look at some redesigns due to the planning report saying they were going to deny, and then there's some also residents that weren't I guess they put an objection in, so.
Okay, so that's for CAV 039 of 2024 at 186 Juanita Drive.
Yes, correct.
All those in support of a deferral? Okay, your application has been deferred.
Thank you.
You'll see the Secretary Treasurer at your earliest convenience.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else, Madam Secretary Treasurer?
I see no one at this time.
Okay. Very well. We have no consent applications, so we will take the first matter before the committee, which is CAV 034 2024 at 410 Samford Place.
I've moved the agent into the meeting.
Good evening.
Yes, good evening, Madam Chair and committee members.
Good evening, Mr. Fatkanjeli. Before you start your presentation, I just wanted to give you an opportunity. You do have missed variances, so rather than go through the entire presentation and then you request a deferral, I just wanted to bring that to your attention just in case.
Yes.
Because that will significantly affect your application.
Yeah, understood. Actually, there is no missed variance. We're not proposing a rooftop terrace. There's no access to this area. It's just a flat roof. The glass that appears in the elevations is just an architectural detail. It won't be designed as a guard, and it would not be approved as a guard, as it wouldn't be able to stand required guard loading. So there is no missed variance, just to clear that up.
Okay, and the same with respect to the maximum depth, you will respect those, I guess, parameters?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, then go ahead, sir.
Yes, so I can see here the drawing that I sent in some written delegation. If you could just go to the first page, that just summarizes sort of my notes and explanation for the variance. So as you're aware, we're applying for one variance. We're proposing 47.78% floor area ratio, or 41% is the maximum. I just want to note that we did design this house originally to comply with zoning bylaws. There were more open to below areas on the second floor, which allowed us to achieve the 41% ratio. We did also expand the second floor areas in select areas when we decided we'd be going for a variance. Originally, the owner planned to move into this house and it was designed for their use, and we designed it to meet the bylaws. The owner's personal situation has changed, and they now have to, they're looking to develop this house and sell it essentially. Due to this, we revised the design to be more suitable to a modern family. So that'd be for more bedrooms and bathrooms to suit children staying at home longer in the current work from home age, and as housing prices are rising, it's tougher and tougher for young people to afford housing, and also to suit working from home and children studying from home. As the committee knows, many workplaces are switching to working from home in hybrid scenarios. So back to the drawing on the second page, please. Third page, the drawing, please. Yeah, the red areas, those show the previously open to below areas. So at the rear, we had the family recreation added on the second floor. This was actually open to below, above the dining room below, with the skylight above. This is part of a design feature, and the same is true for the front shaded area, which is now a bedroom. This was open to below. There's a living room below, so we had the two-story windows facing the front. The owner has decided, since he cannot live here, we wanted to fill these spaces in and make it more attractive to more modern families. As part of the variance application, we decided to add the green shaded areas, which are basically just expansion areas of the second floor. There's a bathroom for the bedroom. For the bedroom at the rear, there's an office area located for working from home. And we did decide to expand the master bathroom slightly. And back to the first page, please. So we saw there how we expanded on the second floor. We agree with the town's professional planners that we're meeting the floor test. There's 6 letters of support, 0 letters of objection. The owners discussed the proposal in detail with neighbors. The exterior design and site position of this proposal is generally in conformance with the bylaws. We do meet the setbacks, height, lot coverage requirements. It's only the interior floor area of the proposal that is not in compliance, which does not affect the public in any negative way. As the planning report stated, we're including different building elements and forms to reflect the massing and scale of the dwellings in the area. As the planning report also stated, we are a mixture of new and original homes, the new homes being 2 stories and fairly large. We have different varying building materials, colors, horizontal detailing, and subdividing of the building into smaller elements, which limits massing impacts on the public. And the second page, please, of the letter here. And again, there is no opposition from public or town staff, so we hope the committee can agree this is a minor application that does meet the 4 tests. So we do look forward to answering any questions the committee has. And this last note here, which is about addressing the rooftop terrace, which we already did discuss. So I would defer to the committee for any questions.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from Mr. Fatkanjali? Okay, I actually have a question.
Okay.
I can't, you know what, never mind, I just found it.
Oh,
I was looking for the statistics on the dimensions and everything.
oh, right. Yeah, you can see those on the site plan.
Yeah, okay, thank you. All right. Go ahead, Miss Yu. I see your hand up.
I have a design about, I have a question about the design related to the top of the garage. So according to the elevations, it looks like there's a handrail along the edge of the top of the roof, the garage roof. Is that going to be converted into a balcony or something like that? But based on the side floor plan for the second floor, it looks like there's a bathroom over there. It looks there's no access to outside. Can you clarify?
Yes, that's correct. There is no access. That is a laundry area and a bathroom towards the front wall. This design feature is basically just a matter of working to meet floor area ratios. We did set the second level wall back to achieve this. We understand that there is no rooftop terraces permitted, and we do not want to propose one. This glass guard that you would see is really not a guard. It would not be constructed as a guard and would not meet the building code requirements for a guard. It's really just a type of modern cornice to provide some transitioning and architectural element to the building.
Thank you.
Any other questions or items of clarification? Go ahead, Mr. Dickey.
Just wanted to, I guess, ask the town planner, is town satisfied that this is not a balcony or a roof terrace, and therefore there was an issue in that regard?
Yes, through you, Madam Chair, staff initially flagged this as a misvariance. However, provided the applicant is of the opinion that there are no misvariances, staff respects the applicant's proposal and continue with no objections to the variance being sought. If there does, however, happen to be any misvariances, they'll be flagged at the building permit stage, and the applicant would be required to come back to the committee with anything that is flagged as missed at that point in time.
Thank you for that clarification. Anything further? Okay, we'll take the matter into committee if no one is called in with interest to this application. I do note that there are 6 emails of support from neighbors. Would you like me to read them on record, Madam Secretary Treasurer?
Yes,
That's
please.
okay.
If you could
Okay, so it's the Manuel and Gabriela De Rosa, Reddy Kieran Oskari, Lubna Saba, and Sridevi Dharmampuri and Pramod Dharma. They're all very difficult names. I apologize in advance if I've misspelled any of them. Okay, so we'll take the matter into committee. Who would like to move a motion? Go ahead, Mr. Talowski.
Madam Chair, I'm satisfied with the applicant's explanation that there is no misvariance for a rooftop terrace based on the plans that I have that I'm going to tie my motion to. There is no doorway to that area and just windows from a laundry room and washroom adjacent to that space. Madam Chair, I'm satisfied that the variance requested meets the 4 tests of the Planning Act. I don't believe it's going to have an impact. I believe the design through its varying roof lines and significant stepping in different parts of the building mitigates any potential impact of the increase in size. I would note, as you did, there are 6 letters of support from the community. I would make that approval of this application subject to the site plan and elevations dated January 3rd, 2023. That construction proceed in general accordance with those plans, and that a building permit issues within 2 years.
Thank you, Mr. Talowski. Is there a discussion on this recommendation? Okay, I see none. All those in support? Okay, the application has been approved, none opposed.
Thank you, Madam Chair, committee members.
Have a good evening.
You as well.
Application CAV 035 of 2024 at 2270 Hilltop Lane. Again, that's CAV 035 of 2024 at 2270 Hilltop Lane.
I've moved the homeowner into the meeting.
Okay. Mr. Leeming?
Hello, hi. I don't think
Hi.
I'm on camera, am I?
No, you're not.
You can hear me though, okay?
We can hear you, yes. If you have access to the camera, you'll find it in the top right-hand corner or the bottom, I believe left, if it's on a computer.
Yeah, I am on a computer. I see the 3 dots. I do have a webcam, but I'm wondering if it's not picking it up. Start video. I have everything but video. I apologize.
Okay, that's fine. Go ahead.
So I'm submitting for a minor variance. I'm looking to install a in-ground pool with a 1.5 meter setback from my property line. There were concerns with a bylaw where because I do back onto the Trans-Canada Pipeline. We have had discussions with the Trans-Canada Pipeline Committee, as well as Enbridge Gas. We are within compliance of the gas company. I believe we're more than 15 meters away with the 1.5 meter setback, which is the drawing that you see in front of you. And the reason for that setback, I do have 3 small boys under 5, and having to comply to a 3 meter setback would put the pool very close to my house. And impede very close to the entrance where my kitchen is into the backyard. Also worth noting, my neighbors on either side both have pools as well. They're around a 1 meter setback, but again, their pools were installed before this bylaw was put in place. So again, I am just asking for the committee to review if this drawing can be approved as you see it here.
Okay, thank you. You did see the note from the Trans-Canada Pipeline requesting that you get written consent from them before the work begins.
Yes, I am aware. I am the owner, and I am working with Jameson Pools, who I'm actually working with the owner, Paul Jameson himself, and his team is in communication with the Trans-Canada Pipeline. So yes, we are staying above board with them.
Okay, perfect. Any other questions or items of clarification of Mr. Leeming at this time? Okay, I see none. There has been no calls with that respect, so we can take the matter into committee. Who would like to move a motion? Go ahead, Mr. Dickey.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Based upon my review of the owner's application, the site plan, the site visit, together with the presentation by the owner and the planning staff's report, plus the fact that there has been no objection from the Trans-Canada Pipeline people, no comments from Enbridge Gas. It is my opinion. I'm satisfied that the variances are minor in nature and conform to the forecast of the Planning Act. Therefore, I put forth a motion that the application applied for be approved, subject to the condition that the pool be constructed in general accordance with the submitted site plan dated August 23rd, 2023, and that the approval expires 2 years from the date of the decision of the building permit.
Okay, is there discussion on this recommendation? I see none. All those in support? Okay, the application has been approved, none opposed.
Appreciate it.
Thank you,
very
Mr.
much.
Leeming. Have a good evening.
Thank you. You as well.
Okay. Application CAV 036 of 2024 at 1477 Burloak Drive. Again, that's application CAV 036 of 2024 at 1477 Burloak Drive.
I've promoted the agent to the meeting.
Okay. Is that Mr. Griffiths?
Yes, it is. I'm sorry, I had a little technical glitch there. Yes, my name is Gord Griffiths. I'm the agent for the owners. Our application is to permit a side garage addition and a small rear addition to an existing building, single-story dwelling on Burloak Drive. The minor variances we are seeking are for a small encroachment into the side yard. And this lot is a lot that is not serviced on municipal sanitary sewers. It's got its own private septic system. The current regulations do not permit the addition with a private system. We have agreed to do a service connection agreement when and if services become available. And we have confirmation that the existing septic system will accommodate the proposed load. There is no change in the load with the addition. There is no additional fixture units proposed for the addition.
Okay. Are there any questions or items of clarification of Mr. Griffith? We do have a request to attend from a Mr. Sid Party. Have they raised their hands or called in, Madam Secretary Treasurer?
They would have to raise their hand if they'd like to be moved into the meeting. Oh. Just one moment. And I believe the homeowner would like to be moved into the meeting as well. So we'll just give me a moment. Okay, I've moved the homeowner and Sid Party into the meeting.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Party.
Good evening, committee members. My presence here today is just to ensure that the lambs get any necessary support. Looking at the variances and everything. In fact, I'm the only neighbor that they have on the right-hand side. So just wanted to make sure that I'm there in case there were any questions or anything else. But I'll hand it over to the lambs for any further.
So you are at 1491 Burloak Drive?
That is correct, Chair. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Mr. Lam, did you have anything to say? Or add?
No, just the reason we want the garage built is I'd like to get my boat off of the driveway because I know I don't like looking at it on my driveway. I'd like to be able to park my cars in a garage now, just with all the auto thefts and whatnot. I'm a little concerned about that. So that's the major reason for this, and that's why we want the 3-car garage, so the boat, 2 cars can go in the garage, and a minor addition in for a family room in the back. So we're only asking for, I believe it's a foot on the side yard.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions of any of the participants? Okay, I see none. Then we'll ready to take the matter into committee. Who would like to move a motion? Ms. Yu, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Having reviewed the application materials, including the staff report, and having heard the presentation done by the agent, based on my opinion, this proposal meets the four tests under the Planning Act. As such, I'd like to move the motion forward to approve this application, subject to 5 conditions. The addition be constructed in general accordance with the submitted site plan and elevation drawings dated November 4th, 2023, that the approval expires 2 years from the date of the decision if a building permit has not been issued for the proposed construction. The owner shall provide a stamp letter from an engineer confirming there will be no increased load on the septic system given the proposed development to the satisfaction of Halton region. That owner shall provide further details on the use within the proposed garage and addition, such as washroom, laundry machine, and so on, to the satisfaction of the Halton region. The owner shall provide a revised plan to show the location of the septic system and to confirm the type of system to the satisfaction of Halton region. Thank you.
Okay, very well. You're all aware of these conditions? All those in support?
Can I just for a moment, we also have to, the 45-2 isn't the 4 tests, so we just need the member to explain how it meets the 45-2 of the Planning Act.
Hold on 1 second, I need to pull that back to my screen. So, Secretary of Committee, do you want me to explain or you want to start? So,
no, it would just be, for the 45-1, you've explained that it meets the 4 tests. For the 45-2, it's not the 4 test because it's the expansion of a legal non-conforming. So I just need you to actually mention that in your motion.
Okay, thank you. This proposal meets the section 45-2 of the Planning Act and the 4 tests under planning under section 45-1 of the Planning Act. Do you want me to go through the conditions over, or this is enough?
No, that's perfect. I just, for 45-1, you read out our conditions, and I just needed you to mention that it also was under the 45-2 of the Planning Act. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All those in support? Okay, the application has been approved, none opposed. Okay, application CAV 037 of 2024 at 610 Trafford Crescent. Again, it's CAV 037 of 2024 at 610 Trafford Crescent. If you're interested in this application, please call 905-815-6095. We do have a letter of support from a Byram Oskin and a request to attend from Rod Sowerby. Go ahead, Ms. Medviva.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the committee. So for the public record, my name is Stephanie Metviva with Glenn Schnarr & Associates. I'm the registered agent on behalf of the owner. If I could have the next slide, please. The property before us tonight is on the west side of Trafford Crescent, north of Saxon Road. It's located within an established neighborhood of the town. The surrounding area has a diversity of low-rise residential built forms. This contributes to the neighborhood having what can be understood as an eclectic neighborhood character. If I could have the next slide, please. So the application before us tonight, the owner is seeking permission to construct a two-story replacement dwelling. The existing dwelling would be demolished. The replacement dwelling is requested to facilitate additional living spaces that better accommodate the family needs. The proposed dwelling has been situated on the lot in general accordance with the existing dwelling. The proposed built form and built form elements are consistent with and compatible with those found in the surrounding neighborhood. If I could have the next slide, please. The proposal requires one variance, that being to increase the maximum residential floor area ratio from 40 by approximately 3.2% or to 44.2%, whereas 41% is required. If I could have the next slide, please. The proposal has been planned and designed to maintain the neighborhood character. This is achieved through the proposed built form as well as built form elements. So I'd just like to quickly highlight the proposed dwelling does feature a step back that is fairly pronounced to the right of the front covered porch. There's also a step back on the left-hand side above the private integral garage. It also features living areas that are integrated into the roof line. So when considered collectively, these built form elements, as well as setbacks along the front and rear facades of the dwelling, do assist in the visual reduction of the appearance of mass and scale. It also maintains a built form and built form features that are compatible and consistent with those found in the surrounding area. Just before I move on quickly, I'd also just like to highlight that the proposed residential floor area is consistent and within range of previous approvals for the surrounding area. It's also consistent with the existing built form pattern of the surrounding neighborhood. So overall, great effort has been made to maintain and to provide for built form and built form features that continue to maintain the established neighborhood character, not only of the subject lands, but also that within the established neighborhood. So I'd also like to highlight, there is a letter of support. Effort was made to approach the surrounding neighbors. We also recognize that the surrounding area does contain a variety of newer and historic built forms. So it is compatible in that sense. If I could have the next slide, please. Just very quickly, this is the proposed rear facade. So again, the step backs along the front facade above the integrated private garage is evident on the right-hand side of the screen. There's also step backs visible on what is on the left side of the screen. If I could have the next slide, please. And lastly, these are just the proposed side elevations. So again, those step backs along the front and rear facades are visible in these elevations. Again, the incorporation of these setbacks and the anticipated materials do help to alleviate the perceived sense of mass and scale. It also prevents the appearance of blank main walls. So as outlined in my submission letter, it's my opinion that the proposed variance is appropriate for the property and does meet the 4 tests under the Planning Act. I'm happy to answer any questions that there may be. Thank you.
Okay. Any questions of Ms. Medviva or items of clarification? Mr. Dickey, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You're probably aware that the town doesn't put the size of the house in square meters into the wording of the variance. So one has to look into the through the plans or whatever you submitted. You wrote a 9-page letter. You didn't mention how big the house was. You didn't mention how big a house the zoning allowed. So it forces us, neighbors, particularly neighbors, let's say, to look through building plans and see what the residential floor area is. Well, your building plans don't say that. Your building plans don't say residential floor area. Your building plans don't say RFA. They say GFA. They don't even, they don't even say gross floor area. So I'm concerned that a neighbor wouldn't know how big the house is because it doesn't say anywhere in any of the presentations written presentations you presented. Any comments on that?
For you, Madam Chair, so it is an error in the presentation of the materials. We do outline how big the home is generically. I hear the comment. So in the future, we'll make sure to reference. It does mention, I would highlight that in the submission letter and on the built plans, it does highlight what the size of the home is in terms, you're right, in terms of GFA, but in terms of residential floor area, it does identify within the wording based on the percentages. So yes, I agree that it takes a little bit of digging, flipping between the plans versus what is in the submission letter, but there is indication of how large the home would be.
Thank you, but it'd be very difficult for a neighbor to realize what the residential floor. I see, don't get me wrong, I see that you note there the second floor, you've excluded the open to below area, so definitely, not questioning whether those numbers are the residential floor area. And I am saying I'm concerned about neighbors not being able to get the answer. And it's a valid question. If you were the owner, and you told your friends, "Oh, I'm building a house," they say, "Oh, how big is it?" Your answer wouldn't be, "Oh, 44.2% of the lot area." Your answer would be whatever it is, whatever number of square meters. So I think it's a valid question for the neighbors to be asking, and I think in this case, you can't find an answer to that because it's not properly labeled. Thank you.
Mr. Tulowski, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ms. McKeeva, I understand you have staff support and you said great effort was made to make this house comply, but I see largely a 2-story box with a truncated roof and what I would consider very nominal setbacks, which in my viewing of this is creating a house that's out of character and looking much larger than the houses in the area. And I recognize you can build a 2-story house. Most of the houses on the street are still single stories. The one new build that's right in this area has, in my mind, has gone to great effort through setbacks and peak roofs to try to minimize the impact of the size. Can you explain to me how this, again, what I call a 2-story box, how you went to great effort to try to minimize the size?
For you, Madam Chair, so thank you for the question. Efforts were made, so I understand the concern. I mean, this is the nature of these types of homes. It is easy for it to appear like one big, large box. So efforts were made through those setbacks, it is not just a blank wall. So there are setbacks, there's ungulation, there's various terms. So I'm not an architect, I don't want to get out of my depth here. But it is not one straight wall. So that is one of many ways that we have tried very hard to make sure that the appearance of massing scale is visually reduced. It is consistent with homes in the surrounding area. Now, we do have to acknowledge, now I agree, there are a number of historic homes, there's a number of single-story homes, but there are newer built forms in the surrounding area. There are decisions within the surrounding area that would permit. Now, not all of them have been built, I do acknowledge that. But the neighborhood is evolving. There is a bit of an eclectic neighborhood character. There's an evolving neighborhood character. So there's various inputs and various ways that we have tried to make sure that we visually reduce the appearance of mass and scale and provide something that is consistent and will continue to be consistent with the surrounding neighborhood.
Thank you for that. And maybe just a comment for future reference. In your report, you have an extensive list of other variances, but it's not helpful to the committee if you just list them without us understanding, you know, what that variance was. If I can request for future reference, that if you're going to do that, if you can incorporate those with graphics into your presentation so we can understand what those variances were as opposed to just the number.
Point taken. Thank you.
Any further questions? Okay. Has anyone called in or raised their hand with interest to speak to this application, Madam Secretary Treasurer?
There's no one at this time.
Okay, and we'll take the matter into committee. Who would like to move a motion?
Oh, sorry, Sherry. There is Rod Sowerby on the phone.
Okay.
Madam Chair, he appears to be muted.
Oh, I was waiting for him to show up on the screen. Thank you. Mr. Sowerby, you have to unmute yourself. If you're on the phone, you have to press *6, I believe. To unmute yourself. Yes, *6.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, sorry, folks. I tried to get a link into the meeting, but the link was given to you as quickly as a viewer. So I'm on my cell phone. I do apologize for that. My question actually is kind of along the lines that's already been discussed, mainly on the actual allotted building size. And is it accepted by the planning committee as being under that size? And the reason I'm trying to find out that information is because this is a developing neighborhood that is on a swale system, and several of the neighborhoods in the surrounding area have gone through recent development of some of these larger homes, and we're experiencing a multitude of flooding through the swale system as it become overloaded due to the fact that the actual lot areas are being consumed by the size of the houses, the size of the driveways, the patios, those types of things. Has any of the planning review that's on this submission taken into consideration anything like that, Ron? The additional load that will be put on things like stormwater movement?
Okay, you'll definitely get you the answer for that. Ms. Medviva?
Thank you. Through you, Madam Chair. So to confirm, an evaluation of there is the onus on the property owner to manage grading and stormwater management within their own property limit. So to confirm, a grading plan will be required as part of the future building permit process. And it would be during that future process that this would be thoroughly reviewed to make sure that it is compliant and that town staff, in particular development engineering, are satisfied with the proposed solution. So I hear the concern. It's not uncommon of many properties. It is not something that is typically considered at the committee of adjustment stage. But having said that, it's not something that we're ignoring either.
Okay, appreciate that. And I noticed on the site plan there, it appears that the grading is there. So I'd like to see that at that step. It's just, my personal belief from what I've seen and experienced in the surrounding areas is it's not necessarily what the homeowner is doing. It's just that the city's capabilities through that sales system are being exceeded already. And by putting forward these additional 5 houses, it's just going to increase the stress on that whole system.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Sowerby. If there are no other concerns, we'll take it over.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions or items of clarification from the committee members? Okay, we'll take the matter into committee. Who would like to move a motion? Go ahead, Mr. Talowski.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I just can't support this application. I think this house is going to be significantly incompatible with the neighborhood, and I don't believe the effort has been made to, mask the impact of the increased size of this house. Staff appear to be satisfied with what I would deem minor step backs in the second floor. From my perspective, you're going to ask for a larger house. You need to make a better effort than that with true changes in the massing, dropping of roof lines, hiding the second floor within it, not just adding a little bit of undulation onto the front. I don't believe this is compatible. So therefore, I don't think it meets the intent of the official plan with respect to infill housing, nor do I believe this is desirable. I would note there's one letter of support, one presentation with respect to drainage, which I would note there is no lot coverage variance being requested here, and that the house, if it were approved, would still have to go through a grading process. But Madam Chair, with those comments, I'm going to recommend denial.
Okay. So the motion is to deny the application that is before us. All those in support? Okay. All of those opposed? All right. The application has been denied. I will abstain.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Dickey, you are in conflict for the next few applications, which is starting now at CAV 040 of 2024 at Granary Street. So the Secretary Treasurer will put you out of the meeting, and we'll bring you back in when we're done the next 4 applications.
Okay, I'll let you know when it's removed from the meeting. Okay, Mr. Dickey has been removed from the meeting for these applications. I've moved the agent into the meeting.
Sorry? Okay. Hello, Ms. McEwen.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the committee. My name is Catherine McEwen, here from Corsiac Urban Planning on behalf of Madame Holmes.
Will you do a presentation for all 4 of them together, or are you going to divide and do each application separately?
For you, Madam Chair, I was thinking that I'll do it for the 4. Speak to there's the 2 different, but I think we've been here before.
Yes.
We can chat about them and then we'll do the additional one last, if that makes sense.
Okay. So I'll let you do your presentation, and then when you speak to the variances, so if we, for example, take the application, which is what we're starting with, application CAV 040 of 2024, the variance to permit the 10% landscape area, that applies to block 35, and it also applies to CAV 043 of 2024.
That's
okay. So if we do those together, and then we'll move them separately, and then we can do the remainder that way as well. But just highlight what are the variances that you're talking about, so that the committee as well as the public understands the full picture on all 4 applications.
Okay, so the subject lands are located on the north side of Dundas, east of 8th Line, within the Joshua Creek neighborhood. Next slide, please. We're requesting variances for 4 back-to-back or village town blocks within registered plan 20M1268. Those are the 4 kind of northerly ones. Excuse me. For all the blocks, we're requesting that a minimum landscape requirement of 10% be calculated on a block basis rather than a per unit basis. And for the 2 interior blocks, blocks 35 and 36, we're requesting that the minimum landscape area be calculated on a dimension of 3 meters by 1.5 meters, whereas an area of 2.4 meters by 2.4 meters is required. Next slide, please. So this is block 34. It's an end unit. The green area illustrates that over the 10% is made up of an aggregate based on 2.4 by 2.4. The red and the blue are additional landscape areas, so well exceeding what's required. And next slide, please. And this is an interior block. So this is where we're requesting the aggregate areas of landscaping be calculated on 1.5 by a minimum of 3, which is the red areas. Next slide, please. This is block 36, also another interior. And then the next one will be the other, next slide is the other end unit. So as illustrated on these plans, the minimum landscape percentages for each block range from 12% to just over 20% based on like the minimum areas. And these calculations don't include the smaller landscape areas, such as in front of some of the interior units and the boulevards, which is the blue. So we're far exceeding what's required. In North Oakville, back-to-back dwellings that are zoned neighborhood commercial don't have this requirement. From now on, we will be sure that this is captured in either sites of specific zoning or it'll just be zone neighborhood center. And then in South Oakville, the calculations are based on a block basis as well. So as well, the tree canopy coverage for the entire subdivision has been satisfied and meets the town targets. And all all of the dwellings exceed the zoning requirements for lot frontage, depth, side yards, and front yard setbacks. So that concludes my presentation for this one. If you have any questions, or if you want to go back to any of the figures for either ends or interiors, I'd be happy to do so.
Okay, thank you. Questions, items of clarification of Ms. McEwen. Okay, I see none. All right, so here's how I'm proposing we do this. Let's take the two applications that are similar in variance, which is CAV 040 of 2024 and CAV 043 of 2024. Those have the one variance, which is the landscape area of 10% to be calculated on the block versus per lot basis. And we can move these individually back to back since we've heard the explanation for them. And then we can move forward. Does that make sense?
For you? Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Who would like to move a motion with respect to those two blocks? And we'll move them separately as per usual, and we'll vote on them separately as per usual. Go ahead, Miss Yu. I can never see your hand. It's always in the shadows somewhere. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was trying to find out where's my hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, having reviewed the application materials and include the staff report, having heard the presentation done by the agent, in my opinion, this proposal meets the four tests under the Planning Act. As such, I'd like to move the motion forward to approve the proposal, subject to one condition. The approval expires 2 years from the date of the decision if a building permit has not been issued for the proposed construction.
Very well. Is there a discussion on this recommendation? I see none. All those in support? Okay, the application has been approved, none opposed. So, Ms. Yu, you'll move the same motion for CAV 043 of 2024, which is block 37.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. The same rationale, I'd like to move the motion to approve this proposal for the CAV 043 2024, subject to one condition. The approval expires 2 years from the date of the decision if a building permit has not been issued for the proposed construction.
Thank you. Is there a discussion on this recommendation? I see none. All those in support? Okay, the application has been approved, none opposed. Okay, so that takes care of 040 and 043. Now we're going to take 041 and 042 together. And those two have a variant, the two variances. Just pulling them up. Give me a second. Yes. So those have, and those are block 35 and block 36. They have the variances to permit the minimum landscape area of 10% to be achieved within the entirety of the block lot in which the building is constructed, and to decrease the minimum dimension for the landscape area to be 1.5 by 3.0. Those are the ones with the two variances. That's CAV 041 of 2024 and CAV 042 of 2024. Okay. Who would like to take a crack at that one? Go ahead, Miss Yu. You're on
Okay.
a roll, I guess.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll continue. So same rationale, in my opinion, the variances are considered minor in nature. Therefore, I'd like to move the motion forward to approve the variances for 041 2024. Do I need to separate or?
Yeah, we're going to separate them. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
For 041, subject to one condition. The approval expires 2 years from the date of the decision if a building permit has not been issued for the proposed construction.
Okay. And all those, any discussion on this recommendation? No. All those in support? Okay. Application has been approved, none opposed. All right, so now it's CAV 042 of 2024 for block 36 with the same variances.
Same rationale, I'd like to move the motion forward to approve this proposal subject to one condition. The approval expires 2 years from the date of the decision if a building permit has not been issued for the proposed construction.
Very well. All those in support? Okay, the application has been approved. None opposed. Sorry, I apologize for that. Lastly is CAV 044 of 2024, and that's block 50. And those are the units with the one variance for decreasing the dimension of the landscape to an area of 1.5 by 3.0. Ms. Yu, you want to keep it going?
Yeah, I can continue. Thanks, Madam Chair. Based on the review and the staff report, I'd like to move the motion forward to approve this proposal subject to one condition. The approval expires 2 years from the date of the decision if a building permit has not been issued for the proposed construction.
Very well. Is there discussion on this recommendation? I see none. All those in support? Okay, the application has been approved, none opposed. Okay, Ms. McEwen, you gotta stop coming back like this.
I promise. Thank you very much.
Blocks upon blocks upon blocks. Okay, have a good evening.
Okay,
all right.
I'll just move Mr. Dickey back into the meeting.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, he's been moved back into the meeting.
Hello, Mr. Dickey. Okay, last item on our agenda is confirmation of minutes for February the 21st. Mr. Talowski, I don't think you've ever moved one of these, Mr. Talowski.
Stepping in for Mr. Hardcastle.
Yes. Okay, thank you. And motion to adjourn. Miss Yu beat you to it, Mr. Dickey. We are adjourned at 8:10 p.m.